there, sugar. Granny's mighty glad you stopped by tonight. Go on, pour yourself a cup of tea. Pull up that old stool. But maybe skip the candlelight for this one. 'Cause tonight's story ain't about ghosts or monsters in the closet. It's about fire. The kind that comes from nowhere. This one's a mystery that still stuck with me since I was just a girl. A story the sheriff himself couldn't explain. The night a man burned all by himself. When I was around 9, maybe 10, there was an old fellow named Mr. Willis who lived down the dirt road from our place about half a mile. He was a quiet sort, thin as a fence post, always wore the same floppy hat. You'd see him most days shuffling past our house with a brown paper sack, heading toward the main road. Now everybody knew he liked his drink, but he didn't bother nobody, just kept to himself, lived off his pension, and sipped his whiskey in peace. But one night, right in the thick of that hot, still July air, when even the cicadas give up singing, we realized we hadn't seen him in weeks. Daddy said, ain't like him to go this long without walking to town. So he and my brother decided to go check on him. Mr. Willis's house sat lonely at the end of that dirt road, windows gray with dust, grass grown up high around the porch. They knocked, no answer. Daddy pushed the door open, and that's when the smell hit him. He said it was sweet at first, like meat on a grill, then turned to something foul that stuck it to the back of your throat. Inside, the living room looked almost normal, except for the chair. An old recliner, half melted, sitting in the center of the room, and in it, what was left of Mr. Willis. What they found still gives me chills. Mr. Willis was gone, burned to ash and bone right there in that chair. But the fire had not spread. The ceiling above was scorched in a neat circle. Beneath the recliner was blackened, but the curtains untouched. The wallpaper not even singed. There wasn't a stove in the room, no heater, no open flame. The fireplace was cold, no wood, no ash, no smoke. It was like the fire had chosen him and him alone. Daddy said the air felt heavy, like the heat still lingered, even though the body was cold. He stepped outside, called the sheriff, and told my brother, "Don't you ever come in this house again." The sheriff and the coroner came the next morning. They took pictures, scraped the floorboards, measured temperatures, brought in some folks from the state. But the answer never came. There were no signs of foul play, no lightning strikes, no tipped-over lantern. Just Mr. Willis, reduced to almost nothing, and a small patch of scorched wood where his chair had been. I overheard Mama talking to the sheriff outside our house a week later. He said, "Ma'am, I've seen house fires, car fires, even lightning burns, but never one that started from the inside out." The coroner's final report called it spontaneous human combustion. After they cleared the house, Daddy went down there one last time. He said he wanted to make sure no critters or kids poked around. When he came back, he looked pale. He told Mama, "There's a black handprint on that wall, right where his chair used to be. I wiped it clean. I came back 5 minutes later and it was there again." He never went back down there after that. They tore that old shack down a few years later, but folks in town still say nothing will grow on that patch of ground. Even grass comes up burned at the tips. Now, I don't claim to understand what happened to Mr. Willis. Science says a body can burn under the right conditions, but no one's ever explained why the fire never spreads. Maybe it's the whiskey, maybe it's the will of something greater or darker. All I know is, when I catch the faint smell of smoke and still air, I remember that little house at the end of that dirt road and the man who burned without a match. So tonight, sugar, keep your lamps trimmed and your spirits light. And if the air turns warm while the night's still cold, don't sit too close to the fire. Good night now, darling. Granny Bill'll be back next week with another story to keep you wondering.